The PS3 became the almost de facto home for great RPGs during the console's heyday, playing host to dozens of the greatest games ever made. With rich stories, innovation, and countless hours of great gameplay, there's no shortage of quality when it comes to RPGs on PS3. But if you could only take 10 with you to the great arcade in the clouds, which ones would they be? Well, we reckon we've got the answer right here in our list of the 10 best PS3 RPGs ever made. Number 10. Dark Souls 2. While it didn't do entirely well when it was first released, Dark Souls 2 is still a fan favourite for many. There's a noticeable difference between Dark Souls 2 and the other games in the series, mainly due in part to the game having a different director, and there was a new creative vision that From Software created for the franchise. The difficulty in Dark Souls 2 scratches the surface of why it deterred fans away. It was much easier to take down foes, which took away the heart of Dark Souls' iconically frustrating difficulty. However, despite all this, the story and lore are impeccable and worth diving into. Number 9. Final Fantasy XIII. As the first Final Fantasy game to release on PS3, Final Fantasy XIII is one that grows on you over time. It has a flawed legacy, with many players finding that the mechanics made battles a chore. However, the vibrant cast of characters and fantastic graphics were enough to pull us all in. Story-wise, yeah, it can be a bit hard to follow along at times, but the more you play, the more you'll find that everything slowly pieces together as Lightning's adventure unfolds. Number 8. Child of Light. RPGs tend to be mainly 3D, but Child of Light had deviated from this norm in a wonderfully creative way with its fairy tale inspired adventure. Following the story of Aurora, you travel through the graceful land of Lemuria. Along the way, you'll meet characters who guide you through Child of Light's incredibly vibrant and vast world. The story is unique, twisting familiar childhood tales into a thrilling adventure. Number 7. Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch. The Studio Ghibli art style isn't the only aspect of Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch that makes it such a brilliant RPG on PS3. As we control Oliver, a young boy, to resurrect his recently deceased mother, we're introduced to a world of utter fantasy. After the game was first announced, fans could barely contain their excitement. Thankfully, the game completely lived up to the hype and earned a reputation as one of the greatest modern JRPGs. Number 6. Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. In a world torn apart by war, you must rescue everyone while controlling the keys to immortality. At its core, Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning is a fantastic dark fantasy that explores sinister and deep themes, and you're constantly kept on your toes with the game's intense magic-infused combat. Besides its expansive storyline making the game such a masterpiece, it's the fluid combat that plays a big role in making it one of the best RPGs on PS3. Number 5. The Elder Scrolls 4: Oblivion. When it comes to The Elder Scrolls 4: Oblivion, there is a lot to explore in terms of fantasy. Taking inspiration from Lord of the Rings, Oblivion's overarching gameplay pays tribute to everything that makes a fantasy game simply perfect. From immersive storylines to memorable voice acting, it's hard not to appreciate this game's glory. There tend to be debates as to whether Oblivion is better than Skyrim. While they're both timeless classics, Oblivion accomplishes a lot with its side quests. Interacting with NPCs and having to complete their quests make us feel beyond involved in their lives. Not to mention how fitting the soundtrack is for a game of such high fantasy. Number 4. Demon's Souls. Even though the PS5 remake improved Demon's Souls in almost all aspects, its original place on the PS3 is nostalgic for many. Set in a kingdom consumed by darkness, we take the role of a hero to kill a fallen king and pacify an ancient demonic entity called the Old One. Demon's Souls is a challenge like no other, but with this game being the first, surpassing your enemies in a timely manner is far harder. At some points they can even feel downright unfair. On the other hand, being determined and making it to the end is an unforgettably rewarding experience. Number 3. Fallout New Vegas. A desolate, barren wasteland scattered with characters representing the game's heart makes this open-world RPG an iconic classic in the Fallout series. Tasking you with searching for a man who shot you while you were exploring the vast state of Nevada, you're put on a journey that pulls you in every step of the way. Packed to the rim with the lore and so much to explore and do, there's a reason New Vegas is still considered one of the best RPGs of all time. Number 2. Dragon Age Origins. While BioWare has continued to make impressive games, Dragon Age Origins will always be remembered as one of the studio's greatest achievements. Tagging along on the story of a Grey Warden battling the ruthless Dark Spawn, we get to make everything develop in the story on our own terms. Combative and charismatic, this PS3 RPG is an incredible example of a fantasy game done right. Number 1. Dark Souls. Regarded as being in the realm of one of the hardest RPGs ever, the first Dark Souls took the dark fantasy world by storm. Its hard-hitting, ruthless nature comes from the challenge of testing your patience. Rather than focusing on getting by quickly, you're encouraged to think tactically about every move. Philosophy also plays a big part in the success of Dark Souls. Themes of death and rebirth are the main focal points of the plot, which go hand in hand with the various characters and bosses that you encounter. In the end, what makes the first Dark Souls the greatest RPG on the PS3 of all time is how creatively different and grim it was compared to others of its day. And that is our list. Agree, disagree? Let us know down in the comments. While you're there, hit the like and subscribe buttons and give the bell icon a tap so that you're notified whenever we have new stuff for you to watch. I've been Chris, you've been gorgeous, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, cheers my dears.